It's been a week, and I want to talk about the Hood, because I didn't get the chance to when the guy first came out, because I was still busy with a long-form video. Let's do that. So, what is he? Well, he's a tank. I don't know if you guys know. He also happens to be the poke version of Devil Dino. You guys like Season 8? Ha 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 ha! Yeah, no, the demon's back in a new form, so hope you're ready to have fun. He has a smaller personal shield as well, so it's not as big and overbearing as Dino's shield, but it is able to protect the Hood pretty well. And the Hood also happens to have a version of Wanda's Fade. So he's able to be an aggressive, flanky poke type tank, with the personal benefits of having health regen on demon mode hit. He goes into a burst Uzi state where he has machine guns that shred tanks and is very lethal. And he gets health back on each bullet hit. Isn't that lovely? Wow, Nate, this sounds really strong. And tell you what, people think that. A couple of my casual friends happen to, also think this way. One quote being, "Man, fighting against the Hood is not fun." With that said, we can analyze the guy to see what weaknesses he has, what strengths he has, and when we should be properly trying to engage the guy. Because the man can bleed. Let's start with some strengths. He is very lethal to tanks or anyone up close within a time frame. He absolutely shreds shields and just big tanks. So tanks that are gonna, at the very least, have a much more difficult time dealing with the Hood include the Hulk, Venom, and Strange. Emma would sort of be included in that category, but she is at least harder to hit compared to the other three I just mentioned. I should also probably bring up Thing, but I think a good portion of anybody would acknowledge that going Thing into Hood is already not a good idea. Not saying it can't be done, but it's definitely going to be harder with those characters. Bring up Emma again later. Mag isn't the worst because of the nature of Mag's kit, but Mag does get punished a little bit here. In his ult form, he also happens to pierce through enemies and through blocking shields that aren't bubbles. Strange's shield, Emma's shield, and Mag's rectangle shield pierces through all of those. And that form has a lot of HP, and you all need to be shooting at him or you do not engage at all. If the whole team is not going to engage with the demon form, do not engage unless you are currently heal pool or tank pool in sword ult form about to achieve jackpot, which I will just say is incredibly specific for the majority of the player base. So I would honestly just disregard that little addendum. His weaknesses are as follows. The Hood has 600 HP, the same amount of HP that Rogue happens to have, for reference. The man has limited survival options once they're used because they have a long cooldown, and his ult gun demon form is stationary unless he has the Wanda team up, and even then, that's limited because he has to be able to reach the teleport. So, how do you counter it? Well, I kind of already mentioned the counters to the Hood's ultimate. You either don't engage or you all engage at that specific target at once, or you get Deadpool to distract it. There's your three options. Pick one. And if there's a rocket there, and he's ulting alongside the Hood, just don't engage. Don't engage at all, because both Rocket Amp and the Hood are going to have so much HP, no matter what team you're running, you are not going to be able to break either of them. Yes, Jean and Cyclops are an option. However, Cyclops, you have the risk of you dying, and are you really going to use Jean ult to kill the Rocket ult? That's something I would do. I don't think a professional player would do that. I've seen it. It's scary. So honestly, safest option, just don't engage. The answer for, neutral, the entire rest of the game, is close the distance gap in the most disorienting way at the right time. You have multiple possible ways of accomplishing this, and you can either play poke better than him with some brawl elements, or you can play dive to play the rock, paper, scissors game in order to actually counter him. The challenge comes from actually being able to pull this off in a fashion that he doesn't get demon form fast enough that he's able to get lifesteal off of you to the point where he just stays alive or actually heals himself. If you're fighting against a good Hood, you have to wait for him to use his Fade cooldown, which already gives him 20 meter. If you can force out this cooldown though, fast enough so that he doesn't get his meter, through dive and a better poke comp, you should be able to successfully manage to counter him. Valid team comps are as follows. For a dive comp, I would recommend having a dive tank cap, if you're going to have a dive tank at all, and some form of other tank that is staying on point. Because it is, in fact, a point objective game. Daredevil, Iron Fist, Magic, Spider-Man all work pretty well in regards to dive characters that can make some openings or take openings really well. Spider-Man is also quite effective because if he knows the hood has used his fade, he can hook and disorient the hood like Bucky can. We'll talk about Bucky in a second. And as for supports, I'd recommend having a Jeff because his range is literally infinite, and a White Fox if we're going uber aggressive dive.
Make the team have a hell to walk through.
If you're going for the poke brawl hybrid option, Emma's pretty good because she is small, has a shield, and has defensive capabilities, and can address people from range. Mag is good, Deadpool's good, another hood, up to you. As long as they have poke capabilities, you should be fine. What does matter is at least one DPS has to be a Bucky. If Bucky can manage to get his little mitts with his hook on that hood after he cloaks, the man just dies. I'm gonna be so honest. And believe it or not, I have experienced this exact pressure when I'm playing as the hood. Bucky is kind of scary to go up against when you are so squishy. Invis gets that same treatment because I assume you can just do the same, just a little less effective, because her pull has been kind of reduced in effectiveness. But she can still get a job done. Okay, those are my strategies, and they're not guaranteed to work, but they have a thought process behind how you can actually deal with the character. And I figured I'd share those with you guys to test. Have fun, guys. Godspeed.